Hello, my name is Agatha, and this is the tarot reading for May for May 2016 for the sign of Pisces. This is a very general reading. If you'd like a private consultation, please send an email to duniazad@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. All the information are below. I'm going to use the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot, and I'm going to use the mini Rider Waite. It's going to be the spread is going to be the astrological wheel, which is 12 houses. In each house has 2 cards, so it's going to be 24 cards for the month of May for you, Pisces. And in 24 cards, if I'm not mistaken, there are 4 trumps or 4 major arcana cards, which to me means that for some of you it might not be a very eventful month. In the first house, the house connected with the self, the way you see things, your perspective, also the way others see you, the social mask, so to speak, you have the 9 of Swords and the King of Cups. So the 9 of Swords and the King of Cups. So it might mean that you're very worried about something. There's some sort of stress going on in your life, and the King of Cups represents you because it signals someone from a water sign, Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer. Therefore, because this is Pisces, I'm thinking of you. It did show up as a man, but it can be a man or a woman. It's someone who's very wise, who is in control of his or her own emotions. Emotionally available type of person, someone who's very kind, someone who has a very strong intuition. So there's something going on in your life and you're very worried about it, but you are able to control your emotions and you are able to hide it, I would say. And you are able not to show it. The second house is the house connected with the money you earn your salary, also, financial resources, also your self-esteem, the things that you value. You have the 7 of Swords and the 3 of Pentacles. 7 of Swords and the 3 of Pentacles. I thought there's many different meanings. Maybe you work in a group environment, and within this group environment, it is necessary for you to use diplomacy and tact. And if you are a leader, this is how, if you lead the group, this is how you do it, by diplomacy and tact. And maybe not, and using the right words to address every single person. This could be colleagues, this could be co-workers, this could be the others who are below you, who work for you. This is one way that I read it. The other way is that someone within your group environment where you work, or your entity, your company, the company that you work for, the entity that you work for, someone is hiding. Someone is telling you lies about the resources. Maybe you're supposed to earn a certain type of money, a bonus of some kind, and you were told something and it's completely untrue, unreal. They lie to you. And maybe during this month of May 2016, Pisces, again, this is for some of you, this is very general, the truth might come out that someone is not giving you the money that you were supposed to have. Another way of reading is for I thought call center, a group type of thing. You work with many people, and within that call center job, you are not allowed to tell everything to the client. You are allowed just to tell. You can't tell everything. You cannot tell the whole truth to the client unless the client asks you, point blank. Another way is that maybe, let's say, you work in sales over the phone, and you have to say the appropriate word, give the appropriate message. You have to adapt your speech to each and different person. So it could be over the phone, the phone, or you can you could work in something that relates to the public, face to face, and you have to adapt and be flexible about what you say. So if you, for instance, work in sales, you have to use this message to this person, and in order to make a sale, you have to use a different type of argument to win that person. So it could be, it has many different meanings. The third house is the house connected with your speech, the way you talk, also messages that you send or get, also connected with the internet, and siblings, connected with the vehicles that you might use, and the neighbors. You have short trips, like the trip that you take from your house, your home, to your job. Short trips around the neighborhood. You have the devil and the Knight of Swords. So it's the devil and the Knight of Swords. Many ways of interpreting this. Maybe there's some sort of very big argument either with a sibling or a neighbor, or siblings or neighbors, and it might be kind of happens. It can be someone younger than you. A sibling could be someone younger, very impulsive, very selfish. I'm sorry. And the purpose of this big argument is to try to control you in some way, try to submit you, control you in some way. Or the root of this very big argument might have to do with some sort of obsession, or some sort of even abuse of some kind, addiction of some kind. It could be, let's say that you're a sibling, not necessarily a sibling. Imagine that you have a very drunk neighbor. That neighbor just keeps getting drunk, and every time he or she gets drunk, there's like a very big fight. So the root of this argument might be substance abuse. It could be drinking, could be, drugs, could be any other type of thing. That's one way of reading it. Another way is that you're worried about something, and you might, some of you, and not all of you, this is general. See your moon, see your rising sign, see your stellium, see the sign for the stellium that you might have in your own personal astrological map. Okay, I don't want to be negative, but I feel inclined. I feel the need to tell you everything. I don't want to hide. I don't like that. So I give all possible meanings. I'll get to the positive one. Okay, I promise. Another way of reading this is some of you might be sad for something. There might be, worried about something. So as an escape way of dealing with this, you might drink, and then you go to the road, or drink, or, take stuff that you're not supposed to take. And you go to the road and you don't even realize that you're driving very fast. So be careful with that. Don't do that. Okay? Another way, more positive, of reading this is that you go and drive, and while you drive, you listen to, rock music or heavy metal music, that sort of music, just to unwind, just to relax, just to, it has nothing to do with, it's like fast, but try to be safe, right? But listening to music, that would be like a more positive way of reading these two cards together. In the third house, the fourth house is a house connected with your home environment, with your house, the one, your actual, the property and the assets that you might have, your family, your mother. You have the Nine of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles, or the Nine of Coins, and the Four of Pentacles. I would read this that you feel really quite safe in your home, like your home is your castle. That's the type of feeling that I'm getting with these two cards. So you feel really independent and safe. You feel safe and guarded in your house, and you have a pet. You might have like a cat or a dog. Even this is a swan, I think. So you might feel, really safe in your house. And your fifth house, you have in your fifth house. Just a moment, please. So moving on, like I was saying, in the fifth house, which is a house connected with children, love, fun and games, you have the Six of Wands and the Hermit card. Six of Wands and the Hermit card. It might mean, for instance, that you might have a child, a son or a daughter, who got some sort, or will get in May 2016, Pisces. For some of you, might get some sort of reward, some sort of prize. Imagine that he or she wins, like, I don't know, an investigation scholarship, or I say scholarship, but it's not exactly scholarship, or gets a job abroad, or whatever. There's some sort of recognition that comes to your children, or your son, or your daughter, and that might mean that he or she needs to leave, needs to travel, and because you might have like an empty nest and you feel rather alone because your son or your daughter left and you feel alone. That's one way of looking at these two cards together. Another way is that you are in a relationship with someone who might be someone from a fire sign, Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius, and this person, man or woman, might be a very proud type of person, even arrogant type of person, the type of person that really likes the attention to go all to herself or himself, and you feel a bit, and maybe you're not like that, and you feel a bit alone in this relationship. You feel that everything needs to be done in order to serve him or her, and you feel alone, and he or she needs to be right all the time. There's like loneliness in this relationship. In the 6th house, which is the house connected with work, everyday work and daily routines and health issues, you have the 7 of Cups and the Moon card. Different ways of reading this. The 7 of Cups and the Moon card. So, it might mean that might come to light some sort of health issues, and these health issues might have to do with I don't know, I'm going to say, because traditionally the 7 of Cups has 7 cups, right? And again, for some of you, I'm not going to say it's for everyone, okay, don't freak out. Maybe, I don't want to be rude or anything like that, some kind of drink a bit too much and you thought, oh, it's okay, I can drink, there's nothing wrong with this, this is not bad for me. And maybe it is bad for you. And maybe it comes to light that you have some sort of health issue that comes from drinking a bit too much. Now, for instance, because this card shows bunnies, it might not be drinking. It might be some sort of health issues because you're eating too much meat. And there are some people who cannot eat too many. I'm not saying go vegan, I'm not saying that, okay? But some people or some individuals cannot eat lots and lots of meat, of red meat, okay? That's what I'm getting. So it might be from that, and something that is kind of a revelation and kind of a surprise to you. So you might, or if it's nothing to do with that, with your diet or something like that, and you thought everything was wonderful, that your health was great and fabulous, and you did some tests and it turns out that there is some sort of issue with your health, and I'm getting fluid, something to do with fluids or fluid retention or something like that, could be for some. And this is why in the 1st house it appeared that you were worried, but you're hiding it. I don't think you're telling anyone, I think you're hiding it. There's one way of interpreting. The other way of interpreting, let's go to the positive, okay? Then the negative again, I'm sorry. The positive is that you really do work in an environment where you have to be very diplomatic, very, very tactful, and maybe, it has to do with sales, I would say. And again, during this month of May 2016, Pisces, you are using your intuition, and you are speaking to everyone. It could be colleagues, it could be clients that you have to deal with, and you are telling them exactly what they want to hear. This is not lying. I'm not saying lying. You being you being smart, and you are saying exactly, you are using the appropriate arguments and your intuition, because you might be using your intuition to know, I know what this person wants to hear. I must address this person from this point of view. I must address that person from that point of view. So you're using all of that in a very emotionally intelligent way in your work life, Pisces, during the month of May 2016. That's a positive way of seeing these two cards together. Now back to the negative, I'm sorry. The negative is that you might have some sort of problems with colleagues. And there might have been like a colleague that you thought was marvelous, a marvelous person, man or woman, maybe woman, and he or she was telling you, only had good words to you, was always friendly to you, and kind of lied to you, kind of told you what you wanted to hear and told you lies, and that deception comes to light during the month of May 2016, and this deception might have to do with the money you earn. To me, it's like he or she found a way of taking the assets that were supposed to be to you. Maybe you're supposed to get a bonus or something, or commissioned of some kind, and he or she kind of got paid instead of you, and it's supposed to come to you. And during this month of May, that comes to light. Okay, the seventh house is a house connected with the long-term partner, with the husband or wife, with the spouse, also contracts. You have the Queen of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. Queen of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. So, your spouse might be from a fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. She might be in her... I say she. Sorry, because the Queen showed up. But it could be he or she, doesn't matter. This person might be in his or her late 30s or after the age of 40. It's a very charismatic sort of person. It's a person that I would say that really believes in family and traditional values, really feels at home cooking for everyone and being the center of attention. Also, he or she is very charismatic, very popular, very enthusiastic, and everyone just gathers around her or him when it comes to, the traditional... when you traditionally spend time with your family, I'm going to say, for instance, the holidays, the Easter, Passover, Christmas time, if you're American, the 4th of July and the Thanksgiving, something like that. So whatever is traditional, whatever place you are seeing this video from, this person kind of organizes all of that and decides, okay, I'm gonna have the whatever Christmas party in our house. And so your spouse, doesn't matter if you're a man or if it's a man or a woman, is the one that everyone congregates around. So he or she kind of rules over that and articulates all of that. Also, it might mean that your spouse might come from a very rich family with lots and lots of assets, or he or she might get an inheritance during this month of May 2016. Again, it tells me that because fire came out in your 7th house, which is the house of the spouse or the long-term partner, it tells me that, I don't know why, he or she needs to be the center of attention, and you kind of feel, and kind of devotes himself or herself way too much to the family and way too much to the kids, and you feel like you are not giving he or she doesn't give you as much as attention that he or she gives to the family or to the kids. That you would wish that attention was to you as well. The 8th house is the house connected with sex for intimacy. The 5th is sex for fun. It's the house of the occult. Is the house of share resources, the money that you have with your spouse. It's the house of taxes. It's the house of death. you have the Ace of Wands and the Nine of Wands. Ace of Wands and the Nine of Wands. I'm thinking that you're trying to reignite the spark with your spouse. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you're trying to reignite the passion, the intimacy with your wife or husband. But at the same time, you or her or him, you and either you or both of you are kind of like not opening yourselves totally. You are not opening yourself totally, or your spouse is not opening himself or herself totally. It's kind of difficult to express the passion, I would say. It could be that. Another way of reading this is that imagine that your spouse really did got some sort of inheritance, and so there's like new money coming in. Ooh. And both of you don't want to pay a very large tax bill, so you're trying to think of ways to, okay, how can we both protect these assets? There must be a way of legally to protect these assets and not to pay a very large tax bill, because you both probably think it's unfair. The 9th house is the house connected with law, justice, long-term traveling. What else? It's called the house of God. It's the house connected with higher knowledge. When you go to college, you look at the 9th house. You have the Queen of Swords and the 6 of Cups. I'm sorry, no, not the Queen, the King in the Cicoli, or Nicoletta, and then Nicoletta is a great name. Tarot, the kings are different. The kings are little dolls, are little women. So both the king and the queen are women. The difference is only the symbol. This is the King of Swords. So the King of Swords, you have the King of Swords with the 6 of Cups. So this again tells me that maybe one of your children, one of your daughter or son, maybe he or she was accepted to study abroad, and this is why he or she needs to travel, to leave. And it feels like a reward, a scholarship of some kind, because he or she is really smart. And, in May, he or she might be traveling, or might be even I would say perhaps traveling already, or might be getting the message that he or she was accepted to study abroad. If it's not study, it's to teach abroad. Another way of reading this is that money isn't bad to you and your spouse, and you decide you are researching during this month to go on a trip abroad with your family. It could be your family, it's your wife, or your husband and your kids, and then you are like doing this without telling people, and then during the month of May you'll say, I have tickets, and we are booked, all of us, to go to Disneyland, all of us, and it's like a gift to you and your all family. So you're like researching, and then finally you'll tell your family, your wife and your husband and your kids or your kid, we are all going on a trip to, I don't know, Paris, all together. Could be something like that. Another way is that maybe some of you did get a large inheritance or something like that, and a way to protect these assets and these properties is to will it to your children, and maybe that's what you're doing. You are giving this, passing it on to your child or to your kids. Or it might be that you, maybe a kid, maybe one of your daughter or a son is getting married, for instance, and you decide to give him or her a house, because maybe you are really let's say, rich. You and your wife have, or husband have a very rich life, and you have lots and lots of assets, and you can afford to give to your son or to your daughter a house if they're marrying. But it's something that's done according to the law, meaning you signed the contract or whatever to give the contract, or you sign over a house or something, or property, something like that. Or another way of reading this is you making a will. You decide to make a will. Maybe you you're feeling scared because you might have had some sort of bad news in terms of your health, so you decide it's time for me to make a will, and in that will you most of the things you give it to your kids. This is the 9th house, and then the 10th house is the house connected with the role that you play in society, the way society as a whole, or the community sees you. It's like your social role, while the rising sign of the 1st house kind of is just like the social mask, but it's when you meet people face to face. And the 10th house is the general idea that we have of others, like, oh, he's a lawyer, oh, she's a nurse, he's married, she's divorced, he's single, generally. Also called the vocation, or the house connected with the vocation is the house connected with your job, profession, your career. Kind of speaks of the path in your life, like the thing you aim for in your life. You have the 5 of Pentacles and the Temperance card. The 5 of Pentacles and the Temperance card. I would say that in terms of career, during this month of May 2016, Pisces, you're feeling very disappointed. You're feeling that I haven't done enough, I'm not good enough to do, I don't have the skills, or I don't have the competence to grow in my career. I'm not good enough. This is the general feeling that I get. However, you are able to hide these feelings because the card appearing after the 5 of Pentacles is the Temperance card. So whatever self-esteem issues that you're having connected to your career and your profession, you are able to hide them, or at least you are able to harmonize them in some way, to serene some way those self-doubts. Another way of reading this is that in a more spiritual way. Even though you feel that you haven't accomplished much in your career, that you haven't risen much in your career, the fact is, maybe this was divinely guided. You lived the career that you needed to live, or you have the career that you have to give for a spiritual purpose. There's a spiritual light guiding all of this connected to your career. You might not see it, you might not see the spiritual purpose, but it's there. So it's like you are divinely guided in terms of your career, even if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it would be. There's something higher above you. You just don't see it. The 11th house is the house connected with long-term plans, with friendships, with goals, with wishes, with big organizations, with big companies, big associations. You have the 5 of Wands and the Page of Wands, or the 5 of Rods and the Page of Rods. So this again tells me that there's some sort of message that might be kind of conflicting, or brings in this message there's some sort of conflict or aggressiveness. Can be a very aggressive message. And let's say that that comes from a friend, and maybe this friend works with you in your job, and then there might be, for some, you might have discovered that he or she didn't behave properly with you, And this message could come from either a friend reacting, or from the organization itself, the company itself for which you work for. There's this message telling you about this friend who's not a friend, and is kind of he or she is kind of working behind your back, or competing with you in some way. And so it could be that as well. So this is how you find out. Maybe this is how you find out about the money that you're supposed to have, or a lying or deception about a colleague, possibly. Again, for some of you, the company itself, the company in which you work, sends you a message telling you that. Or it might be another way. Another way of reading is has nothing to do with your company. Is like a friend that sends you a message, and which might be very aggressive for whatever reason. I have no idea. I don't actually see it here. He or she is mad at you for whatever reason. Just sends you a very angry email. Another way of reading it is that you have now a different type of long-term goal. You've decided something, and you announce it. And people don't like it because they think it's dumb, it's stupid, and whatever goal you have, it's a new goal which you have set for yourself, and the fact that you announce it might bring with it some sort of fight with the people who surround you, family, friends. I'm going to give like an example. Imagine that you did have, or will have in May 2016, some of you Pisces, a scare in terms of health, like bad news. It doesn't mean it's something bad, okay? You just got a scare. So you decide, okay, there's something that I want to do, and I have never done before, and this is the time to do it. I'm going to go do the Camino del Santiago. You understand? The road to the route to Santiago to Compostela. I'm going to do that. And you announce it, and the people who surround you just look at you. What? It's stupid. Don't do that. And blah blah blah. So I'm just gonna give this as an example. It could be anything else. It could be like, I'm gonna buy a boat. I'm gonna do a trip around the world. It's a new objective that you have set out for yourself. The 12th house has to do with illness, restrictions, hospitals, prisons. I don't see that you're going to a prison. I don't see that. It has to do with isolation, the occult, with something which is hidden. Also spiritual. It's a karmic house in spiritual evolution. You have the 9 of Wands and the 2 of Cups. The 9 of Wands showed up in the 8th house. And then a 9 of Wands and then the 2 of Cups. And it tells me, because the 2 of Cups is the one of the cards connected with soulmate, is the soulmate card. I'm thinking again that you feel that the connection and the intimacy, sexual, not just sexual, but the sexual intimacy that you had with your spouse, doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, led to a bigger intimacy, to an emotional intimacy, to a spiritual intimacy that you had with your spouse is no longer there. And you feel very sad because that connection that you had with your wife or husband or your partner, you feel it's not there anymore. And this really fills you with sadness. So if you feel like, yeah, there's some sort of sacrifice connected with in that way with your long-term partner. So you feel sad, but like a sadness that it's not just physical, it's just spiritual type of sadness. And this is it, Pisces. This is the reading that I have for you. Don't freak out. This might not appear as a very positive reading. Again, this is general. If you'd like a private consultation with me, please send an email to duniazad@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you.